Stablecoins will become the de facto settlement layer for trade in years to come, but not just any stablecoins, only stablecoins with specific qualities. In this video, we'll examine what those criteria are. We're going to see global commerce shift away to non-USD stablecoins. Let's first consider the opportunity and potential demand for stablecoins just based on international trade. Annual global trade is currently valued around $23 trillion. International trade is responsible for 56% of the world's economic value generation, and half of global trade is denominated in USD, even though the US is only responsible for 10% of global trade. So considering the USD's deep entrenchment in global trade, it's a borderline monopoly. Why would that change? Why would we need another settlement currency for trade? And here are the three reasons why that's the case and why we'll see global commerce shift away from USD and toward non-USD pegged stablecoins. Number one, dollar dependence is fundamentally unsustainable in global trade. It might feel like the US dollar is too big to fail, but US monetary policy is in a dangerous place. You've heard it before. With $31.4 trillion of debt, the US is now printing money to make their debt payments, and the dollar isn't generating enough economic value through GDP to even pay that interest. So the solution is just to create more money. It's a slide of devaluation that only moves one way. And as a currency, the USD virtual monopoly on global trade needs to be reimagined. The world can see this, and in fact, there's unavoidable, undeniable data that countries are starting to look for other currencies to settle in. So this consideration fundamentally alters the type of stablecoins that could be considered for a new international settlement layer. Would we expect $15 trillion a year of USD-backed global trade to balance on good faith in the dollar in perpetuity, especially when countries are already expressing that they don't have that good faith? It's not stable or sustainable, and that's why some of the world's strongest economies are teaming up to try and replace the dollar as a reserve currency. Reason number two is that composite currencies reduce risk for all parties. You've probably heard of BRICS, maybe a lot recently. It's a political alliance composed of Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, as well as almost 40 other countries that are interested in participating in this alliance. And for several years, they've been working on a new indexed currency composed of each of their national currencies and will potentially be backed by gold. And the purpose of this currency is that international settlement layer. They don't plan to replace their national currencies, so far as we know. But this is 40% of the world's population that we're talking about. The primary advantage of a currency like what they're discussing is that it reduces risk for all of these parties at the global trade level. It would be more stable than a single currency, which in turn reduces volatility and reduces risk for both sides of the trade at the settlement layer. Consider this scenario. If Brazil and India want to trade, whose currency do they use? The surprising complexity that comes along with that issue, that is part of why the US dollar has the place it does right now, and why it's so widely used in trade. But again, we're looking outside of USD for options, since it seems like the life cycle of USD is sunsetting in the next 10 to 15 years, at least as a global reserve currency. The composite nature of an international currency is compelling, but there are other considerations in play. We're watching money evolve in two directions at the same time. Think about this. Number one, we're seeing money that is becoming more centralized and more nationalized in the direction of CBDCs, for example. But number two, we're also seeing some types of money that are becoming more decentralized and denationalized. This observation then begs the question, would a decentralized composite stablecoin be a more diplomatic and equitable settlement layer for trade as opposed to a centralized equivalent? It seems like the answer is a massive yes. However, there's still one essential quality that's necessary for any stablecoin that wants to participate in global trade, and that is data privacy. So reason number three, we'll see global commerce shift to non-USD stablecoins is that commerce will choose private stablecoins with auditability over transparent stablecoins. The best practice and the best utility for commerce is privacy with auditability. Think about that. Privacy for stablecoins unlocks layers of access controls and permissioning that provides the security, accountability, and verifiability that is necessary in international business. Private and reflexive stablecoins that also offer a path toward accountability and compliance, they have the necessary qualities to be used as a global currency for international trade and stand the greatest chance towards large-scale international adoption. So will something like Silk that has all these qualities, will it have a role in the future of commerce? Silk is a private and reflexive stablecoin that's pegged to a weighted index of global value managed by a strong decentralized community. BRICS proposed currency index, on the other hand, it's built around inclusion in or exclusion from a political alliance. The distinction between development priorities and binding obligations from sovereign entities matters. Because of Silk's decentralization, the DAO and the surrounding community have the freedom to create the most stable and durable asset on the planet. That's the goal. The basket of currencies and commodities to which Silk's price is pegged, that can adapt and change based off of geopolitical and economic environments and occurrences. It can withstand a number of unforeseen circumstances due to that adaptability. In Silk's framework, inclusion in the currency index is based on economic performance rather than politics. That's very different than BRICS. The approach to their currency is based on political obligations, push and pull. That can't match the advantages of something like Silk. Welcoming decentralized financial technology, it creates the best possible future for our global economy. It allows those who seek financial stability to focus on the quality of the tools rather than the uncertainties associated with the geopolitics of their chosen purchasing power preservation method. We need an approach that is inclusive, open source, where all participants have a voice in what comes next. So can Silk weave into the frayed fabric of our global economy and bring the utility of private settlement and decentralized stability? We believe its unique utility makes it a standout candidate. If you want to see Silk in action, swap for some, or mint with any of the many collateral options, visit app.shadeprotocol.io. Until next time, thanks for watching, thanks for learning, and don't forget to subscribe to stay in touch with all the latest.